And the Oscar goes to...
Rami Malek.
Okay, that didn't go too well.
Yeah, no, it didn't go so well, Raven. Didn't go well at all. After getting robbed of a Best Actor win for his work in A Star is Born, Bradley Cooper's second directorial feature is here with Maestro, a project he's been working on for the better part of 6 years, chronicling the life of famed composer Leonard Bernstein through his career and his relationship with his wife, Felicia Montelegre, played by Carrie Mulligan. And after much anticipation, it is finally here to audiences. I had a chance to see it a while ago, and there is absolute greatness in here, along with some flatter moments. Let's talk about that. As people know, I have a complicated history with biopics. I find a lot of them the same, very tiring, very boring, and just uninteresting. So I'm always a little skeptical when I hear of biopic movies that are coming out, but I'm glad to say that Maestro tackles this in a much more interesting way. For example, if Maestro started with Leonard Bernstein as a child, I would have punched a hole through the screen. Now, thankfully, it doesn't do that. One biopic I happen to love is Steve Jobs. And there's different reasons why, but one reason is because instead of doing a typical, rise of Steve Jobs as a kid to the garage, working on Apple products, to being the CEO, it chooses to focus on 3 pivotal moments in his life. So by doing that, not only does it skip over the bullshit, here's this gifted prodigy as a kid, but also those 3 moments give us, the audience, enough info to know who this character is really. And Maestro does something similar in that it jumps from different periods in his life, and it really spans decades, which I appreciate. And that is just one of many reasons why I think Bradley Cooper as a director is so promising. Before I had this channel, I remember labeling A Star is Born one of my favorite movies from 2018. And I think even out of the Oscar nominees, I think it is my favorite. And I always felt weird about that, not because A Star is Born is received negatively, that's not true at all, but I did feel like people kind of thought that's kind of weird, is A Star is Born really your favorite? It's good, but it's not that good. And I just have to say, I feel absolutely vindicated in that, because Bradley Cooper is no hack. He is no one-time wonder. He is for real as a director. He is for real. And I'll say off the bat, while I prefer A Star is Born as a movie, I think his direction in Maestro overall is much stronger. Shout out to Shallow. My God, what a scene. He has great instincts. How he decides to shoot each scene with amazing cinematographer Matthew Libatique is incredible. The distinctive look and feel of the movie, how he decides to frame and block each shot, it is incredibly impressive. And adding to that is his performance, which I think is great. I never realized how much Leonard Bernstein uses his whole body when conducting and how expressive he is until I saw real footage of him. And knowing that before I saw the movie certainly helped. And I think it's great that in pivotal scenes, Bradley Cooper just tries to embody Leonard Bernstein rather than just try to copy what he did when he did it during those moments. And you'll see a lot of those moments when he's conducting especially, but even his mannerisms, I think it's pretty impressive. Now, I know that's all glowing praise, but actually I am a little mixed, leaning positive towards this movie, because while I do appreciate the approach of Maestro, I didn't care for how the film jumped from event to event with little to no cohesion. And I know the makeup work, which is genuinely unbelievable at times, is supposed to let you know when we've moved on from, years past or to the future or whatever. And that's obvious, but you still need a better way to kind of guide the audience through. I still think you need a better way to transition the audience from event to event, because considering all the time periods we're going to, it really felt discombobulated a lot of the times. And I felt like I have to almost reset my brain every time we're in a new event. And that goes to the screenplay, which, as has been said, is not one of the stronger aspects of this movie. And yeah, it's certainly not. With a better script, I think this could have been a top 5er for me potentially. But with a lot of new releases actually that I've been seeing, the disjointed nature of this movie really holds me back. And when you're all disjointed, you just find yourself losing interest. And I found myself losing interest in certain parts of the movie before it would then bring me back and then lose me a little bit. It was very much a tug of war. Now, I haven't mentioned Carrie Mulligan a lot, and that's for a specific reason. Carrie Mulligan, one of my favorite actors, and I do mean that, has been talked a lot and praised about in this movie, and I'm a little puzzled by it. And I don't say that because I think she gave a bad performance or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But for a movie that has explicitly said that this is not necessarily a biopic on Leonard Bernstein, it is a love story between Leonard and Felicia, I didn't love how the character was written, especially as she really gets a hold of the movie as it progresses. Without going into spoiler territory, I just felt that it did Felicia, the real person, a disservice, because I felt like she ended up becoming one of those tropes of the wife to the great man, which I just think is an incredibly boring trope. And I know I'm in the minority on that. There have been people coming out of this movie absolutely fawning over not only Carrie Mulligan, which is earned, but that character and how she really takes a hold of the movie, I know I'm in the minority on that. So I'm curious to see how a rewatch plays, but that's really how I felt. And of course, we have to talk about the cathedral scene. The scene that everyone has talked about where people broke out into applause during all the premieres. And yeah, it's fantastic. What do you want me to say? I don't want to overhype it, but yeah, it's great. And it's not just great because, you know, the music is amazing and how powerful it is, which it absolutely is, but it's a great showing of an artist doing what truly makes them happy. And considering I am not a composer expert, I think it really shows why Leonard Bernstein has stuck out among the thousands and thousands of composers who have come and gone. Cooper's direction, once again, is so strong here. The way it starts, the way it ends, it's incredibly moving. It's not hard to see why people love this scene, so, you know, look forward to that. Overall, Maestro has moments of absolute brilliance and moments that left me wanting more, but I do think this is a pretty great love letter to the Bernstein family and to passionate artists everywhere. Maestro, 3.5 stars. I am very curious to see how it plays on a rewatch for me. This might jump up, this might go down. I have no clue. I know some people want to know about the potential for this movie in terms of the Oscars. I have nothing really new to say. I think everyone is pretty aligned on how people think Maestro is going to play out. With the transformation, with everything I saw in Maestro, it's hard not to think that Bradley Cooper has locked up the Best Actor Oscar. Who knows? That can always change. But the fact that the actor strike is over and people are out there campaigning, especially Bradley Cooper, it's hard not to see that he doesn't take the cake. And if you're managing to still watch this at the end, I've mentioned it a couple of different places, but I did make a new Instagram that is in the description. I am very active on there. You get to know me a little bit more personally. I don't know the interest in it, but yeah, it's in the description. Conducting is just so goddamn cinematic though. What the hell?